Thanks to Baron of Dice, Grey Matter Gaming, and Monument Hobbies for sponsoring this video. With the recently released Codex, Blood Angels have had plenty of ways to play, with detachments focusing on melee-focused builds, mobility and mission play, and the flawed warriors of the Death Company. But what about Sanguinius' more noble legacy? That's what we get to explore today with the Angelic Inheritors detachment. As always, you can read more at goonhammer.com. Link in the description. Detachment Rule: Legacy of the Angel. At the start of the game, you can select 2 Angelic Legacy abilities. They are active for the rest of the game on all Adeptus Astartes character units. Sanguinary Grace, fallback and charge. Carmine Wrath, reroll hit and wound rolls of 1. Their appointed hour, reroll advance and charge rolls. The theme here is intended to evoke the Blood Angels' more noble legacy from Sanguinius, contrasting with the usual focus on the flaw. Instead of losing themselves to rage, the Blood Angels dig deep to find the defiant, focused fury of the Great Angel. This means a more balanced approach on the table, with more of a nod towards combined arms and shooting units than we've seen in other Blood Angels detachments, albeit with a heavy focus on characters. We've got a decent set of enhancements here, with the challenge being that Blood Angels have so many great named characters that it might be hard to fit these in. Prescient Flash gives a unit a 6-inch scout move at the start of the game. It's a good way to stage or react to your opponent's deployment. It also opens up the option of scouting an impulsor full of Blade Guard or Death Company up the table. Troubling Visions lets the bearer's unit use all 3 Angelic Legacy abilities until the next command phase once per game. Probably best for turning on fallback, shoot, and charge in a pinch. Blazing Icon makes the bearer's unit immune to Overwatch. This is always good on melee units that are trying not to get shot up on the way in. Ordained Sacrifice stands your dead character back up on a 2-up with 3 wounds remaining, as close as possible to where they fell but outside of engagement range. It'll sting when you roll a 1, but it could come in clutch. We've got a great set of stratagems, if you like them all to sound like the track list for a Metalcore EP, that is. Armor of Contempt is back and as contemptuous as ever, though the wording in this detachment still says to the end of the phase instead of the updated wording where it only lasts for the duration of the attacking unit's attacks. Expect that to get changed to reflect the updated rule. Focused Fury gives lethal hits to a unit in the fight phase, and Lance if they're a character unit too. You'll be windmill slamming this stratagem multiple times per game. Instant of Grace turns one infantry model into a character for a turn, letting a squad without a character benefit from the Angelic Legacy rules and empowered stratagems. Just watch out for enemy units with bonuses against characters like the Master of Executions. Strike Now for Glory hands out sustained hits 1 on a unit shooting for a phase. This is a great ability to hand out to anything with a gun bigger than a bolt pistol. And it isn't limited to infantry either. Slap this bad boy on a Vindicator or Gladiator. In the Shadow of Great Wings prevents one of your character units from being targeted by shooting outside of 18 inches. Any infantry-heavy army will make great use of this, especially a melee one that needs to close with the enemy. Unto the Burning Skies is an uppy-downy stratagem, pulling one of your units off the board and into strategic reserve. They can't be in combat range unless they're the Sanguinor, who crucially can be pulled out of combat. Uppy-downy stratagems like this are always great, and being able to intervene with the Sanguinor and pull him back out to do it again is very funny. If you've been used to whizzing around the table with advance and charge, you're gonna miss that, but there's plenty to like here. You're gonna want a lot of characters in your list to make sure you get the best out of the stratagems, but that isn't a terrible burden for Blood Angels. You have a really nice toolbox of options here, which produces a detachment that sits the halfway point between Liberator Assault Group and the Angelic Host. More mission play than the former, more punch than the latter, but not quite as specialized as either. You can include more of a shooting component than you might otherwise consider, with Strike Now for Glory interacting neatly with Oath of Moment. Most of the updated Marine units gain solid value from this detachment, as intercessors of both the regular and heavy variety can both take advantage of Strike Now for Glory. Time for some strengths and weaknesses. Hit and wound rolls in an army that tends to run multiple characters that dole out +1 to hit or wound seem pretty good for upping that reliability. Legacy of the Angels starting options and a stratagem suite that favors a combined arms approach make for a really flexible game plan with great board control. The stratagems also give you a solid mix of offensive, defensive, and movement tools. Unfortunately, no access to advance and charge takes away a lot of the pressure tactics from the Blood Angels arsenal. The melee buffs here are also only okay, which means there's lackluster support for the faction's bespoke units. You're also going to be spending a lot of points on leaders in order to actually get this detachment bonus, and that detachment bonus doesn't do anything for your vehicles. The overall set of stuff here is pretty good and provides a new way to play the army, but unlike the other Blood Angels detachments, it lacks a way to get access to advance and charge. As a strong proponent of the ABC lifestyle, always be charging, that's a big drawback. For that reason alone, Liberator Assault Group will likely remain the best way to play Blood Angels, but Angelic Inheritors has enough going on in its combined arms approach that it should be worth taking for a spin. If you'd like to read more about everyone's favorite transhuman space vampires, head on over to goonhammer.com to find out how we'd play this detachment. And since you're already on YouTube, you can watch our review of the Blood Angels Codex supplement for even more about the Emperor's finest pretty boys. You can also support us on Patreon for bonus content, extra features in our apps, and more. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Barrett of Dice, Monument Hobbies, and Grey Matter Gaming for sponsoring this video. I've been Crimson Red Mick Low Platelet Count, and I've got to make a withdrawal at the bank. The Blood Bank. Thanks for watching.